to be fair, apparently,
honestly, with them going to a national
plans,
broadcast thing, NXT should just stick to NXT and draft people from around the world.
Well, Bushiroad plans on running Stardom separately from New Japan. So it would still be its own program like it is now, and New Japan would still be its own program now. The only difference is if they wanted women's matches, and even more so, they've stated, more so for overseas tours, to have a couple women's matches on there, that they would use Stardom. So over in the Orient, it's more understandable to have only men's or only women's. But when they come over here to America, which they have obviously made a priority of, they want, or even into the UK or Germany or wherever else, they want to throw in some women's matches, and it's easier for them if they own, for lack of a better word, own the women who are wrestling.
Hey, I know for the better part of a year and a half, I have stressed that I wish WWE would give women their own show and their own platform to take their own opportunities in.
Oh, Paystee, and we're going to be disappointed with the news coming up about that.
Woo! I love disappointment.
But we're not there yet, and Paystee...
Blow it right up my ass.
Are you ready for this button?
Of course I am.
All right, folks. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE had plans to hold the Mae Young Classic tapings on Saturday, November 2nd and Sunday, November 3rd at Full Sail.
Just say it.
In Winter Park, Florida. However, plans appear to have changed. It seems that WWE has decided against holding another all-women's tournament until 2020, if at all. Now, this comes after the WWE NXT ticket website advertised last week the Mae Young Classic tapings for early November. The notice for those tickets was removed as no announcement was ever made. As of this recording, Paystee, there's no word yet on when the 2020 tournament will be held. The plans being nixed come recently as Triple H actually just hosted a media call back in early August where he mentioned how the company was working on finalizing plans for the tournament. In fact, at that time, he stated that the tournament... and WWE would be making an announcement very soon. And I guess their announcement was that it's not happening.
It's not happening. And guess what? You're not getting Evolution either. And still no women wrestling in Saudi Arabia.
And guess what? We're still going over to Saudi Arabia. And no women on the card. Exactly. Oh, I'd be fine with them getting rid of the Saudi Arabia shows and keeping the Evolution pay-per-view of all women's wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, do 3 of those a year instead of Saudi Arabia. I'll be all for that. Well,
First of all, I'm pissed that I'm never going to watch a Saudi Arabia show, but they're having Hogan versus Flair teams. And that just bothers me.
I will shamefully be tuning
Flair,
in.
But I'm not going to watch it.
I will shamefully be tuning in.
You can do it. You can do it for me.
Somebody's got to take that bullet. Anyways, in other news on this week's NWA Power, it was announced Into the Fire, which is also the theme song for the show. God, I love it. I every time I watch it, I feel like, am I on acid and going back to the 80s? What the fuck is happening? NWA is quickly becoming my favorite guilty pleasure when it comes to wrestling. It's so great. It's beautiful. But Into the Fire will be the company's next pay-per-view on December 14th, just in time for Christmas, folks. And it is already sold out. You cannot go there, but you can order the pay-per-view. The show will begin at 6:05, that classic time of 6:05 p.m. Eastern Time, from GSB Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. Currently, the studio being used for its weekly show. Those tickets are always going to be sold out, folks. Don't you dare ever hope on getting one. There's like 50 seats in that place.
Exactly.
I'm so cool with that, though. Like, less
awesome.
crowd and more, like, expansive reach is amazing.
Oh, for sure. And I'd be willing to bet they're going to add a few seats for this pay-per-view and going forward, I would assume. But this is great. I love it. I want to see more of this. It is a fun, intimate feel, isn't it?
It is. It's very special in the wrestling world, and it is amazing to me.
Well, Paystee, as we kind of alluded to earlier, WWE officials have been planning a NXT Japan brand. Dave Meltzer himself noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that officials are working on the project, and they've talked to a number of companies in Japan about a potential deal. It was said that WWE has tried to buy a Japanese promotion so that they would have a foundation for their NXT Japan, which makes a lot of sense, especially with the culture differential. But there's no word yet on if any of the deals have gone through. One of those companies, Paystee, is allegedly Pro Wrestling Noah, the home of Kenta. But the deal, as far as this recording, has not been reached.
Honestly, in this landscape in the wrestling world, should any company consider selling to WWE? Wrestling is the biggest cash cow it's been in ages. I would stand on my own 2 feet and be as stubborn as I possibly could, even if my company was only worth $50 at the moment.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what the Japanese wrestling landscape looks like outside of America, obviously. We know New Japan, yeah, they have no problem. But then you also have All Japan, you have Noah, you have Stardom, which was just bought out. You have DDT Pro Wrestling, which is still a thing, and there's a few other ones. So I don't know. I guess it's a different world than we have here. And to be quite frank, Paystee, I don't think we know where most of the companies outside of WWE land here in America because everything's changing so fast.
It's weird, but I know for a fact that each year more and more American wrestling fans are looking outside of our nation's borders to find true good wrestling. So I think any company would be able to stand on their own 2 feet. Yeah. You just keep doing what you're doing to be unique and be successful, and things will be fine. Nobody needs WWE anymore, and WWE doesn't need any more signed talent.
That's kind of true.
It's
beautiful, but it's true.
You know, back when we started this podcast, it would have hurt me to say that, but it feels so good right now to be a wrestling fan.
Well, tell the fans what else is beautiful that they could actually sink their teeth into and brighten up.
Oh, it's fun for the whole family. Mick Foley has released his first in a series of adult coloring books. The inaugural book is titled Cactus Jack and the Beanstalk. The book is a coloring book retelling of the classic children's tale, and the hardcore icon is donating 100% of the profits of this book to Connor's Cure. The proceeds will be going to Roman Reigns, the pediatric cancer research charity created by WWE.
Pediatric and Roman Reigns.
Right. Pediatric with an asterisk.
To be fair, this has nothing to do with Connor's Cure. I super want to buy some of these adult coloring books because A, I love adult coloring books. B, I love Mick Foley.
Adult coloring books are so much fun.
So,
and honestly, I buy get them for the kids. You know, it'll keep your kids more entertained having more to do than just coloring a vast open space of whatever the fuck.
Yes. Now, Paystee, we are moving into the comings and goings, and we've got a really big, long one. So I'm going to try to knock most of it out in one slap, and then we can go over it. But if there's something you need to get into or something, interrupt me, because that's fine.
All right.
So, comings and goings, I'm sure all of you have heard this week because it's everywhere. But we got the news from, personally, at Beef Sticks Podcast from Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated that Eric Bischoff, who has been serving as the executive director of SmackDown since July, was informed that his services were no longer needed by WWE Human Resources on Tuesday morning following a creative meeting at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Now, WWE's decision to release Eric took place on Monday night during the Raw show, allegedly. According to a WWE official speaking to Paystee, Dave Meltzer.
Oh shit! We've never used this button 3 times in a show before.
No vision. Meltzer. Oh, that's worth a button itself.
It's a new record.
So the official said that Eric had absolutely no vision, and once we were headed into Fox, everything was falling through the cracks. Eric messed up multiple times with SmackDown's new home. The official also said that the former WCW president didn't have the stamina to work a 2019 WWE schedule, which, by the way, I think very few humans are able to follow.
Well, I mean, it depends on if they keep cutting them house shows.
Yeah, I know. Meltzer wrote, Bischoff would work a full day, and he just said, work a full day. Keep that in mind, folks. Go out to dinner with his wife, and people would complain that after 7 p.m. on certain days, he would become impossible to reach.
Oh, no!
Effective immediately. I know, right? Effective immediately, Bruce Pritchard has replaced Bischoff as executive director of SmackDown. Bischoff wrote, Bruce is a great producer, good friend, and I am certain that he is going to thrive in his position. He is going to be working with a great team of the most dedicated and hardworking people I have had the pleasure of working with and getting to know. So at least Bischoff's being very professional as of right now. Let's wait till Monday when 83 Weeks drops.
Right.
Pritchard responded, calling Bischoff a friend, saying, much love and respect to a great businessman, creator, and friend. Thanks, Eric. Many expressed when Bischoff was first hired, it was believed that he was largely being hired as a scapegoat, and they speculated that he would be fired as soon as something went wrong to, quote, show Fox they were completely serious, unquote. In fact, in the latest Grilling JR with Conrad Thompson, not only do they point out the fact that when Bischoff was first hired, they literally said that on their show, that Bischoff was only hired to be fired when something went bad. But JR put out the amazing quote of, don't buy rent. In other words, everybody who's one of the main benefactors of SmackDown, Raw, whatever, they're only there in order to be let go to, quote-unquote, prove that WWE is doing something to change negativity.
So what about Vince? Shouldn't he be the first person on that chopping block?
Realistically, yes.